Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Rust Belt Diecast Customs, and today we're going to start work on this little guy, and it is the Volkswagen Golf MK2 from Hot Wheels. I really like this one because it's got the little window, I forget what those windows are called, but it's got the raised door handles and the license plate, tail lights, a couple different headlights. It's with the customs, it's all about finding little details to pull out. So I like that. I like the black hood. I always like the look of a black hood. I don't know why, but it just looks so rally. So we're gonna get them broken down. He's got 2 rivets on the bottom. Get them broken down and paint stripped, and we're going to do a little bit of custom interior on this one too, which should be fun. So this one just has the 2 rivets on the bottom here, and I have my shallow bit, or my shallow drill bit here. So kind of what I want to show on this channel is that you don't need tons of equipment to do this hobby. It's you just need simple things. I mean, this is just a drill bit that isn't very pointy at the end, and it's just so that it doesn't go all the way through the base. So all I want to do is just get in here and just knock off the top of this rivet so that I can pull the base off. Like you don't need a drill press for this kind of thing. I mean, heck, not even using a nice drill. This is like a Black & Decker 14.4 volt. You know, it's just a junky kind of drill. So that one was in there a little bit more than I thought it was. As you can see, I kind of jacked up the base a little bit, but that's not an issue. So don't worry about that kind of stuff. As long as you can get this out, you're good to go. So just get in there with my screwdriver. You see it comes right out. No big deal, easy peasy, boom, boom. So you can see the hole's a little bit bigger, so it's not too bad because I'm just gonna have to glue that in old school style like I used to, without the tap or anything. You see that's a little bent, but that's all right. It's not a big deal. It's nothing that can't be fixed. So we're gonna work on that base later, and I'll show you how to fix that. Pretty simple. So here is the interior, which of course, I mean, this whole car is mint condition, so not a big deal, but we're probably gonna work on this interior a little bit, getting some details in on the seats and probably putting a roll cage in or something. Here's the glass, perfect condition. I love the windshield wiper detail there. So this thing is going to get set aside because we're not going to even touch that at all. And then here's the body. So this is really what we're going to be working on, getting the paint stripped off and all that stuff too. So nice solid. You can see how solid those were, the posts, why that was so difficult to get that out. So we'll get this guy into strip now. We're ready to strip down the Volkswagen Golf now. So as you can see, she's ready to go. Gloves on. Nice stiff bristle round brush is what I like to use for these. So we're gonna get, this is the stripper that I use, by the way. It's just clean strip. It's cheap, easy to use, gets the job done. You just want to get a nice glop on. And this stuff will burn your hands bad, so make sure those gloves are on. Looking like so it's been set for probably about 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna try to get this coming off pretty nice. You can see there are some spots here that were under the decals that are maybe not gonna be as easy to remove. So we're gonna have to get the wire brush on there. We're gonna put it in another coat of stripper, which, you know, you need to do that every now and then. Sometimes they require it. All right, so the water here. Water. Dust this off with the toothbrush. Yeah, that's looking good. See, it's not really coming out of those little crevices. I think I might hit it again with the stripper just to get it out of those. But so again, reusing a lot of stuff. This is the bottom of, as you can see, a coffee can. Try to reuse as much stuff like that as possible. I use little jars and things to hold stuff. It's you know, reuse, reduce, whatever, all that iffy stuff. So kind of the jam when you're working on these, because what you're doing is you're taking something that was previously made and making it new again. So why not use stuff like that? Like this is the, you know, my paint stripper thing is a it's a coffee can lid. So yeah, it's looking like it's getting stuck in some of the details there. So what I think I'm going to do is get this rinsed. It's important to rinse it after this process, and then I'll get it with the wire brush, see if we can dig out those details and get in there with the little wood screw that I use, and should be good. Should be good. As you can see, the rinse did a pretty good job of getting the remainder cleaned up. You can see there's a little bit on the inside there and just a touch on the hood and the details. Oh yeah, a little bit more on the inside door. So we're gonna hit it with the Dremel with a soft wire brush. We use these soft wire brushes. They're very, very soft. There's not much to them. So if we get this guy going here. The Dremel did a really nice job getting that cleaned up a little bit more, nice and smoothed it out. Now there's a couple spots that we can still get in with. I just use this, it's just a, you know, standard wood screw. There's nothing much to it. And did it focus at all? No focus? Okay, cool. So yeah, it's just a little wood screw. You can use dental picks or whatever, but I find for these lines, you just really get in there with a wood screw and just clean them up a little bit. Just pull out some of that paint, and then we'll hit it with the Dremel again. Yeah, you see that? Just digging that out. The more you can get off, obviously, the better the paint will stick once we hit it with the primer. And I actually decided after I started working on this, I was going to do a rally car, but now I kind of want to do like a rally car in process, where it's going to have parts that are primed, parts that are like maybe the hood will be all like a nice shiny black as if it's brand new, because a lot of these cars, they'll do, you know, they'll work on the engine before they work on the exterior. So they'll replace the hood first, because it'll be all nice and sweet and brand new on the front end. So I think I'll probably do something like that. Maybe get a little rust on these doors. Definitely rust on the roof. Rust on the roof looks great on these like in-process rally cars. I got a little bit more there. So you can see even like you don't have to use the Dremel. You can just get in there with the screw on a lot of this stuff. But like that's the whole thing with this channel, is I want to show you don't need fancy equipment. You don't need to be, you know, an artist or anything like that to get in here. I think the hobby is a little intimidating for people because they see that there's a lot of equipment needed and a lot of like time and special processes, and you know, it's on the job training. It's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun with it, then what are you doing? You know, this is my kind of downtime hobby thing that I like to do. And again, like I've said before on the channel, I was out of it for a while, and then I'm coming back into it. So there's a whole new world out there. And I'm kind of still using some of my old school methods. So there she is, all nice and cleaned up. I'm going to hit it with the wire brush a little bit more just to finish off some of those spots that I just dug out. But we're in good shape. So after some more inspection, I found a couple other spots that needed to get cleaned up with the Dremel, but now we are ready to prime the Golf here. So again, just using this Rust-Oleum rail cam primer. This stuff is great. So that'll do it for the primer, and that's all you need with this stuff. That's why I use it. It's really great. Gets into all those, you see it gets into all the cracks and everything. It's gonna be a great little project car. So here it is after prime. Casting took the priming really well. You can see we got into a lot of the little cracks and crevices that we kind of had to dig out with the wood screw tip. Here's the interior. I'm going to paint it with just a, this is just a standard black enamel paint, and a paintbrush is nothing crazy. What I did was I installed a roll cage in the interior here, and that was relatively simple. It takes a little bit of figuring out, but for the most part it's just paper clips. I can't focus there. There we go. It's just paper clips, super glue, and a little bit of baking powder. So you put the super glue in the joints and sprinkle the baking powder, and it hardens immediately. Same thing you can see down in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint this whole thing black, the whole interior, because what we're doing with this is we're trying to make it look stock. So Matchbox made it look really cool, or Hot Wheels, sorry, made it look really cool. We're trying to bring it back to look like a stock VW Golf that's being worked on to become something cool. So we're just gonna get in here. I'm gonna start in the back, just see how this paint takes. Pretty good. And this dries a little bit matte. It's almost like a satin, so it should look pretty sharp. So after I started taping up to prime, I thought, hey, you guys will probably want to see me tape. Anyways, so I used this. Let me show you the front of the package. Frog tape. The reason why I use this stuff is because it works really well. It's painter's tape, but it also is good at getting edges. So like this edge here along the windshield, base of the windshield, is not part of the hood, and I'm just painting the hood right now. So you can actually take it and stretch this tape and bend it to the shape that you want. So you'll see, hopefully, when I paint it, that it is going to be completely covered. Here it is all taped up. As you can tell, I'm a little obsessive with tape. I just don't want any leaking. So I honestly probably could have brushed this, but instead using my favorite Rust-Oleum 2X, and we're just gonna give it a quick one. So as you can see, there she is, nice and coated. So I'm just gonna be nice and careful getting the tape off of this guy. Don't want to scratch anything or wreck it, but I do want to get it off while the paint is still curing after it's dried for a little bit here. It's like a hard-boiled egg right now. Ooh, a little hiccup on the side there. That was from when I pulled it off. It actually jumped up and hit because this had some black on it. But we can touch that up easy. So there's the finished project. Nice glossy hood, and you can see it rolls all the way under, which is great, fantastic. So we'll let that dry. That's gonna dry a little bit more matte than it is right now, but I really like the look of that. That looks sharp. And then we'll do this this quarter panel next, I think. Now the black has dried a little bit. You can see it's a little less shiny, and I was able to touch up those edges that were not ideal. They weren't where I wanted them to be, so it was mostly this edge here. So I decided to brush the blue. So I have this really thin blue here, and I'm gonna do this quarter panel here. It might be a little too thin and probably take a couple coats, but I thought brushing it would look a little more interesting. I know it's supposed to be kind of like he's fixing it up perfectly, but I don't know. I was just feeling the brush. And that's how it works sometimes. What did Bob Ross teach us? Happy mistakes. Or happy accidents. No mistakes, just happy accidents, right? So, that was definitely a happy accident there. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna let that dry and then I'll touch up the roof. And then we'll move on to the rear of the vehicle. Gonna get a license plate on there and some tail lights, and the tail lights wrap around the sides, which is kind of gonna look kind of cool with that, with the blue there. So we'll get to that next. So now we're almost dry here. We got the hood, the rear quarter panel, and then I went ahead and did the tail lights, license plate, which to me is the absolute most nerve-wracking part. I still need to touch up a little bit on that, but for the most part, that is completed. That was really blurry. And then I went and did the front end with the markers and all that, the directional markers, whatever you want to call them, and then the front end. And the way I do that is with the tip of a screw. I find I can get a little bead on there and just touch it on the front. So I think that turned out pretty good. I'm gonna let everything dry and then we'll put it all back together and she'll be done. And so here we are at the close of our video here. The build out for the Volkswagen Golf is done. So I'm fairly happy with the way it all turned out. I think it came together really nice. You can see the slightly rough finish here and the smoother parts. Overall, it looks like a project car that somebody got and they started and then they just couldn't finish it, and I love that look. Let's see, the interior, I really like the way that interior came out. I feel like they replaced all the interior but then they didn't finish working on the car, so that's cool. As far as this section, the base, love it. The white rims are really cool. I kind of want these now on my car. I don't know if they even make them. Front end especially turned out nice with the directional markers, and then I added the fog lights underneath too. And then the windshield, just one modification on the windshield was I painted in the windshield wipers, which are not typically on these vehicles. So that was a cool little feature, so I figured I'd accentuate that a little bit by painting it in. So now all we gotta do is just put her back together. So really simple, just put that back in. I did have to modify the back end, or the rear axle portion, to fit the seats again, because it was I had to fix the back because the axle got jacked up when I was putting it together originally, as you can see there. But oh man, I forgot the glass. Come on, Josh, get it together. So the glass goes in first. It's pushed in. The interior. You guys got kind of a little sneak peek there before she was finally done. Press it all together, get it nice and good. And then get the screws in. New screws. I had the screws that were in there before. had the paint all over them. That's not an issue. I'm fine with that. But I had them ready to go. I took them out, and I set them off to the side, and ended up brushing them off the bench, and I don't know where they went. So as you can see, and as I was saying, that little hiccup there at the beginning when I jacked up the base, it really had no effect on it. All I did was I filled it in with some super glue and baking powder, called it a day. So there she is. This is the Volkswagen Golf project car, and I almost forgot the best part. She's going out curbside. There he is. Thank you guys for watching the Volkswagen failed project car build out. This guy's gonna put it up on Craigslist and put it out by the street. See if anybody wants it. So thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you're new, hit the bell for notifications, and we'll see you next time on Rust Belt Diecast Customs.